Good afternoon on what is a mild, bright day. It is Monday, the 3rd of January. It's 2022. Back in the Nook with some parcels, a nice hot cup of tea, and the next one I'm going to unbox is this one. So let's find out what is in here. Okay. And what we've got is, you can see that, there we go. And there's two things in here, I'll get to the other one in a bit. But this is Sword of Cepheus, the Sword and 2d6 Sword and Sorcery role-playing. Now, I'm going to say basically, my first thing is, okay, you can actually see the pub. You can't quite see who the publisher is there, but it is Stellagama. So, a sorcerer blasting his enemies with the power of his mind, a muscled barbarian wielding a flaming sword against the local tyrants' thugs, a secret cabal of magicians plotting to control the minds and souls of kings. A gladiator who freed himself from slavery wanders the land, righting wrongs and smashing villains. Big muscles, big swords, eldritch sorcery, excuse me, powers of the mind and eldritch beasts. From Burroughs to Howard to Moorcock to Italian peplum films, though to those dreaming of outlandish post-apocalyptic worlds, everywhere heroes raise swords against corrupt nobles, inexplicable sorcerers, and alien monstrosities. Sword of Cepheus is a role-playing game in the triple sword genres: Sword and Sorcery, Sword and Planet, and Sword and Sandal. In Sword and Sorcery, often amoral protagonists face vile sorcery and horrid beasts as they contemplate awesome adventures for gold and glory. In Sword and Planet, humans find themselves on barbaric or decadent alien planets, use their superior brawn and valiant hearts to win fame, fortune, and the heart of an alien princeling. In Sword and Sandal, often set in a quasi-biblical or faux Roman world, men and women with sharp wits and strong sword arms fight mythological creatures and overthrow tyrants. The common threads of all three genres are the blade-wielding protagonists who use their brawn as well as brains to fight foes both supernatural and mundane and undertake hair-raising, violent adventures. Excuse me. Now, yeah, this is published by Stellagama Publishing, and it's 2d6 Sword and Sorcery role-playing game. Now, essentially, this is the fantasy version of Traveller. Now, Traveller is published in 1977 by Game Designers Workshop, and famously uses the 2d6 two six-sided dice for its resolution mechanic. Stats are on a scale of 2 through 12, and then potentially up to 15. But they provide a bonus which you roll to add to the dice roll, and also a skill. So it's really essentially a skill based game. Now, Cepheus Deluxe is Stellagama Publishing's cool rulebook for running a science fiction role-playing game of any kind using the 2d6 system. This is the fantasy version. So we get into it, and we've got quite a bit of an old school style sort of piece of artwork before we go into first page. And also, okay, the other thing that kind of sets this apart is that it feels and looks like a Traveller book. The use of a sans serif font, the tables like that, but the artwork isn't science fiction, it's fantasy, or swords and sorcery, if you will. And we've got a complete list of all the skills there. And then character generation. Okay. So yeah, we actually have pseudo-hexadecimal digits. So typically in Traveller, a character has a stat of 10, that's A, and goes all the way up to 15, 16, which is G, and after that becomes, you don't bother about it. But this actually goes all the way up to Q and 25. Because essentially, if you think in your typical D20 system style Dungeons and Dragons game, it scales up. It can scale up above 20, whether that's a stat or the stat of a great beast. And the other feature of Traveller and Cepheus is careers. So here we have essentially a skill and career-driven role-playing game. You create your character through rolls of the dice, and they'll be living from term to term, having adventures prior to their actual adventuring in the actual, the campaign that the game master runs for you. So the first one we have Noble, and there's everything you need there for you to the player to create a noble character. And it does it also the same. What have we got through here? We start off with Barbarian. Barbarian, and then we've got Commoner there on that side. And we've got Priest, Sailor, Rogue, Pirate, Scholar, Shaman, Soldier. Again, quite plain, but you can see the influence and layout. This publisher is used to producing content that apes Traveller in one form or another. Then we get on to Sorcerer, Vagabond. So lots of skill options, basically background options for the characters, and excuse me, we have not only life events, which you can roll from term to term, but you have mustering out benefits. And mustering out in Traveller is essentially you go and do a career. You serve in the Navy for 4 terms. That's 16 years, and you have a number of benefits. That can be money or membership of the Travellers' Aid Society, ship shares, that sort of thing, depending upon the career. So what this means, instead of your atypical Dungeons and Dragons style game where the players start off at the age of 18 and first level, here the characters start off from anywhere, from 22 to 40 to 38 sort of thing, and they've had adventures and have skills and so on. That's quite interesting as a setup. Fantasy role-playing games don't often do that. It's all about youth. To a certain extent, RuneQuest role-playing in Glorantha does it because you have 5 years of adventuring from the time you're initiated at 16 through to when you're 21 and the campaign begins. And here we have an example of character generation as well, and that's a couple of pages. We also have all characters who survive their careers gain traits, which essentially that's an additional thing. So we have things like ally, assassin, or awareness, battle mage, beast friendship. Again, that nicely models certain styles of fantasy and expands the character options a bit more than your standard 2d6 style game. So you might have prophecy or sensing power. You might be a merchant, that sort of thing. Equipment list. Weapons. Weapons table there. So I'm not entirely. I mean, the artwork some of the artwork is okay. It's not fantastic artwork through here, but that's fine. It isn't necessarily what you are looking for. That's a nice piece. I do like that. So, cover combat, damage and healing, and we've got an example of personal combat as well. Again, it's quite a plain book, but I mean, not every role-playing game has to be high production values. It's nice if it is. Okay, then we get on to sorcery, and there's summoning something you shouldn't, or perhaps something you should if you want, if you actually are after a bit of power or something. And we've got an example of spell casting. Again, I really like the fact that these are full-length examples, whether that's of character generation, mustering out, and so on. It's really good. So here we've got the list of spells and the things like charm monster, charm person, commune, conjure, demon spawn. Again, really interesting to see this presented for a completely different system than you would normally see for this kind of fantasy. I'm basically being visited by the cat in his house. Come on then, you coming on my lap? There we go. Yes, hello. leaving his muddy footprints everywhere. Thank you. So, yes, I've just been... here we go. Monster entries. Again, not always illustrated. Again, it all depends on how much artwork, basically they can afford to fill. And you just give it that. Won't take his weight. It's fine. He's going to settle down. Treasure. And so far, the one thing I'm kind of looking for is missing. Where does it get onto the genres? I'd like to have seen something. So here we've got, basically got a table of enchanted swords, which you can roll. Basically, just use tables just to generate a sword. I mean, that's a nice touch. Essentially, here's some ideas. Roll randomly. Got Independence inspirational media. So if I'm one thing I'm kind of missing, I didn't see anything basically on the particular genres in any depth. That would have been nice, but there is a good index. Let's just have a look. So generally, okay. So there's nothing in there for talking about the particular genres. You're really going to have to go, elsewhere for that. I think that's a little bit disappointing, but a good GM will be able to sort that out and adapt it to her campaign. So this is Sword of Cepheus, published by Stellagama Publishing. Different take upon the mechanics, essentially, for running fantasy adventure campaigns, and I look forward to digging into this and giving it a full review. Anyway, thank you again, for watching another unboxing of Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click the like button down below. If you've got good comments or feedback, appreciate you posting those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a package and a book which I will chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea and a cat who is not ours, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing of the Nook. Bye for now.